fucking did it!
Martin's been very impressive. Everything good is point.
I saw the count quarters and I thank you for the lap.
Dave Simpson playing Glasgow. And there's a magic moment. Ball inside 50. Control! He strikes it beautifully. He's got it.
What is up? What is up, everybody? It's episode 6. It's the second week of the trade period. Things are looking awfully familiar to 2019. But that's okay because we're going to get each other through this. I'm Terry, your host, and this is my man, Dan Williams. Pom, what is going on, mate?
Hey, I've had a fresh cook, looking straight out of a boy band in the 1980s. And I like the intro. You're right. Not much has happened today, has it?
I don't want to get anyone worried. I don't want to send negative vibes, but all day I've had deja vu. I've had deja vu this time last year. I still remember going into the second week of trade period when at the time it was Papley. There was a bit of posturing over the weekend. We were hoping for a Monday, Tuesday announcement. The Instagram blog boys were posting about deals getting done tomorrow. The next day you get sucked in. I don't know. I'm not worried, but I'm just getting deja vu.
I've got to say, I mean, today has been one of them days that reminds me of Christmas parties in the UK. There is rumours swirling all around the shop at the moment. But, I mean, as usual, I'm sure something will be sorted. Pom this year's going with a new approach of being cool and measured, and it's paid as well. But, yeah, it's been a bit of an abject day. I mean, this is proof. People are talking about the election in America being rigged. This is proof to me of the draft is rigged, the trade period, because they know we're going live for 3 hours on the last day. So they're just giving us material. I appreciate it, Gil.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's probably the good little announcement that we could make to everyone at home. For you guys at home, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new to the channel, you'll remember trade period last year where Dan and I were going live every day just to recap the day's news, which is what we're here for today, during the free agency and trade period. Now, on Thursday, we all know that it all comes to an end. The deadline is at 7:30 p.m. Thursday. So myself, Dan, we're going back in the studio, back where we damn belong. We'll be doing a 3.5 hour live show. Taking your calls. You'll be able to join us from home, video link. So we look forward to that. So there's a little bit of news for you guys that have tuned in nice and early today. Dan, that'll be fun. Like I said, mate, PTSD. I don't want to get to Thursday night and, we've got that Hello Darkness, my old friend, playing in the background and you and I just sitting there like stunned mullets.
I've got to say, anyone who was fortunate enough to trade into the live last year, a part of me actually died in my soul that day. So, if I was the bad guy from Harry Potter, that day would be one of my Horcruxes. I tell you, that was a heartbreaking day.
It was. But listen, we're not going to bring up last year again other than to tell you that we're doing it again this year. And hopefully we have a better day on Thursday. But that'll be fun, mate. That'll be fun to get the band back together, back in the studio, so people don't need to look at our bedrooms.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is my office, so there's no bedroom here. There's no magic that happens here.
Love it. Well, we've got a few things on the agenda nevertheless. I know that we didn't get any news. We will talk about the Saar deal. We will talk about the Dodoro roast. I've just seen Rocco's comment here. 3 hours Thursday. My girlfriend just said thanks. I like that. Doing what we can. So the first item on the agenda tonight is about Matt Kennedy. A few people have been speaking about this. We've been speaking about this for a little bit, and it was really just confirmed by his player manager about his situation. So if you didn't hear it, see it, read it today, he basically said Matty Kennedy's probably in an uncertain position due to the unknown list sizes, but Carlton think there'll be a spot for him there next year. Now, that's not really so much of a surprise. That's exactly what we said months ago. We're waiting to see what happens. There might be a deal brokered that he's involved in. So many situations. But now it's looking like the club want him to stay. But really, it's just this delay on list sizes. And initially, I was really annoyed at it. But Pom, do we actually know why there is a delay to understanding the list sizes? What's it all stemming from?
Well, I mean, one thing that we've got to bear in mind as well with this is that there is clubs, as it stands at the moment, who it's projected to be 38. We've heard a lot of list managers. I've heard 4, St Kilda, Collingwood, Essendon, and Geelong have alluded to the magical number is 38, which I find really weird that the AFL haven't announced it as we're having a draft period, a trade period. Absolutely crazy. Does it surprise me? No. Remember, the AFL is run by Gillian, who during the COVID season did daily press conferences to tell us that tomorrow there would be another press conference. So nothing surprises me. But one area of interest that I have of this is that 2 teams are already at 38 and over. Brisbane have signed long-term deals, as have St Kilda, and they're signing players. So Geelong alluded to it would be 38 people, including the rookies. I'm going to predict that it's 38 plus 4 rookies with a rolling rookie list, because obviously we're going to have our own reserve teams, a lot of us now in the VFL. But for me, this slate is madness. Like, they know how much money they've got. They know how much money it's going to run an AFL season. They're well aware of that. It seems a little bit perplexing that the list managers don't actually know what they're working towards.
I was of the understanding that it had something to do with the TPP, and the CBA hasn't been negotiated yet by the Players Association, and that's kind of what's holding us up, which makes sense.
It makes sense, but why have a trade period when you don't know? So, like, if you're St Kilda, they can't cut the senior list to 38 when they've got 38 dead on. Brisbane can't do that. They've got 39 senior players signed up on their list ready to go. So for me, it's a little bit mind-boggling that that's happening, because what are the AFL going to do if Brisbane suddenly get 2 players? Say Adam Treloar says, I want to move to Brisbane, and they negotiate a deal. What are they going to do about that? Like, if they sign him, they've got 40. For me, it's madness. I understand the TPP, but they must know what the play-in payments are next year. It can't be done last minute. So it's a weird one for me. I mean, as for Matt Kennedy, I've been saying it all year. I don't think Teague rates him high enough. He should not be, for me, an afterthought. For me, he should be locked away. He would have been one of them guys I'd locked away at the end of last season. I thought his back-end form was phenomenal. So for me, I'm not too sure what's going on there. I'm a big fan of him, though, Kennedy, and I hope to see him in navy blue next year.
Just want to put this out to the people out there just so I can get a bit of a picture of how we're all feeling. For you guys at home, I'll ask the question. Has Matt Kennedy shown enough for you at home, personally? Yes or no in the comments. Has Matt Kennedy shown enough for you to stay on the list in 2021? Let us know, just so we can get a bit of a gauge. He had a bit of a good patch of form this year when he eventually got in. He was sort of going good game, not so good game, followed by a good game, followed by a not so good game. I reckon I'm pretty confident in saying that he's earned himself a 1-year deal, personally. That's just me.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Carlton were looking for, obviously it was clear and concise that we were looking for more inside help. And for me, Kennedy is good enough for me. He plays multiple roles. He can do a job up forward. This year, you can see he's worked on his engine. I thought the stuff he does off the ball is phenomenal. The fact he clears space, he's very Mitch Robinson-esque at Brisbane, and that really works for them. A guy that attacks the man, that allows a better player to grab the ball. And for me, he's got a very self-sacrificial game. I like it. For me, it was a minimum of a year, and if next year we're looking at these A-grade players, he's that stopgap. He's that bridging gap to that. But for me, it's going to be an interesting one. For me, it's going to be an interesting one where we go. I can't see anyone coming in that gets rid of him. So I think he will be here and he'll get another year. And hopefully he kills it, because I think he's got the potential to be best 22.
What about when Kemp is ready to play? And what about when Stocker's ready to play? We know Setterfield's already in the team and very much thriving. That's where I start thinking maybe Kennedy's run his race.
For me, this is an interesting argument. This is someone that we talked about this time last year, Brodie Cam. We were very excited about him. He was in our draft profiles. And for me, he's going to be like a draft pick. This is going to be like our first round draft pick this year. And for me, I'm super excited about him. Versatile. One of the things we were talking off camera about is his interesting benefit. The scouting notes were hurt factor. This guy, when he tackles you, you know about it. He takes the wind out of the sails. He's a real big energy impact player. This time last year in the Matt Rowell draft, if we were talking about the 2021 draft, where a lot of people are saying is a super draft, Brodie Cam was the number one pick. It was this year that we've missed that Rowell came to the fore. So for me, this is an interesting one because Kemp is better, in my opinion, than anyone in this draft, bar 3-name Hagen. For me, he's a wonderful player, Brodie Cam. And I think Brodie Cam, by the end, I'll mark my words, I'd say by about round 12, Brodie Cam will have locked that spot. This guy can have Rowell-like impact, but he's got something Rowell doesn't have. He can play all around the ground, all around it. Key defender, key forward, half back. Whatever you want, this boy can do it. I wouldn't be surprised to see this guy actually start in the back line and work his way up to the midfield because he's an intercepting beast as well. Real exciting player we've got on our hands. So if we are going to lose pick 8, just imagine we got this guy for pick 8 this year because this guy's got something that Rowell doesn't have. Rowell's always had a susceptibility to tagging. Even in junior football, he can sometimes lose it. We've never seen it in senior footy. But if you've gone to training and seen Brodie Cam, this guy's a beast, man. I can't see many people being tagging this bloke. He's a big boy.
It's exciting, mate. It is. It's very exciting because as we've spoken about last week, yes, there's this notion that we need to get a big-bodied bull for Cripps. Well, he's there. He's there on the list. He just needs to get himself healthy and ready to play. So, but
I've got to say, Brodie Cam, this guy would play in the snow and not leave footprints. Like, he's clean, man. Big excitement. You've got me excited now thinking about Brodie Cam round 1, taking out Dustin Martin like the mug he is.
I was just about to say Ruben Matthews is exactly the vibe for me. Let's just ease up on him, give him some time, and then you've just gone and given Dusty Martin a clip.
Now, serious, real good player. He will be an absolute stellar player, but I reckon he's going to be one of these players a bit like Walsh. He's going to really come into that game. This year off, he's been doing a lot of upper body work. He looks ready. So we're going to see a second-year player effectively play in year 1. So it's going to take him a while to get up to speed, but physically, and that's where usually first-year players buckle down, he's going to be good to go. So have faith. He'll be a very good player for us.
All right. Love it, mate. Love your work. Let's move on to, we're going to do another live player spotlight right now. This guy's name came up over the last few days, Lockie Fogarty. All of a sudden, there is a link to Lockie Fogarty, and he's keen to come to Carlton. Carlton are looking at him. Pom, I'll be honest, I don't know much about Lockie Fogarty at all. I was quite surprised to see people would prefer Lockie Fogarty over Matthew Parker. Maybe we'll talk about Matthew Parker in a moment. Can you give me something on Lockie Fogarty? What are we dealing with here?
So Lockie has had horrific injuries. So when he came in 2017, I've got to just stop this here. This is dedicated to me mate Next Minute. He asked for this one. So Next Minute, this one's for you. You've been asking about it all day, and I promised I'd do one today. So when he came through at Geelong, there was a lot of hype about this guy. And he's kind of just suffered from injuries, whether it's be his ankle, his hammy, all lower body. He's just never quite got the continuity that he probably deserves. But he's an ox beneath his feet. This guy is very clean. He's a fast thinker. He's kind of like, we always use that phrase, a wish somebody else. So at the moment, if we went to Wish and then there was a wish for Tom Papley, so you've gone to Wish for a Tom Papley and then you go to Wish 2 for a Tom Papley from Wish, he's probably 2 grades down. He's not He's not Tom Papley, don't think that, but he's very similar. He drops very deep. He's been trained as a midfielder. He's spent a lot of time at half forward. And if you look at his game like this year as well, against in round 10, he finds the ball. He's got an uncanny knack of finding it. He measures his kick. He has all them kicks as well nowadays, you know, the outside of the boot, the banana. Very skillful player. A lot of injuries, though. A lot of injuries. So we've got to remember that. But he's got clean hands, good footcraft, good decision-making. And he's one of them players, if you watch him, particularly in the VFL and in the games he's played for Geelong, he has time. He always finds himself time. So don't get me saying that he's going to be the next big thing, but there is a very good base, a very good base. So if we pay a good price for him, the risk-reward on this one could be really high. He's not like Darcy Lang, so don't worry about that.
I'm just having a look at him, and I guess I'll play devil's advocate here. I'm not a fan of this at all. You said so he's a half forward. Is that what you said, or is he a small forward?
He's a midfielder who's started to utilise his role across half forward. If you look at him this year, Geelong have used him in the games. They have played him 50-50 split on the ball and across half forward resting. So very similar to what Tom Papley did this year. So you would be drafting him, I'd imagine, based on the fact that he goes across the half forward and pinch hits in the midfield. So it's going to be an interesting one to see where we deploy him, but he is a very good footballer. It's just, can he get his body right? And he has had injuries every year. He was drafted with an injury. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
What would he cost?
For me, I think 48's too much, heart of hearts. But that's what they're saying. 48, 49 is why we want that pick back. We want that pick back to get him. It's probably about his high ceiling. If this was an auction, that's probably his upper ceiling. Potentially could be a great get. But for me, very injury prone. And that's something that we've got to watch. But we have got the best in the business, remember that, at getting people fit. But these injuries genuinely aren't fitness related. Remember, ankles and stuff, they're genuinely not fitness related.
Okay. So people talking here about how Fogarty needs to be viewed ahead of Matt Parker. Matty Parker kicked 16 goals in 2019. Yeah. Played 17 games. He kicked 16 goals. He only managed the 2 games this year. Didn't kick a goal. For whatever reason, didn't work out for him this year. Lockie Fogarty's kicked 6 goals in his career. I just don't see how he's going to be depth better than the guys who play in the half-forward role already. I feel like we have a surplus of them already. The Gibbons, the Fishers, the Martins, the Cunninghams, the Kennedys, these guys that rotate midfield forward. I don't see how Lockie Fogarty is even in the conversation. When I saw Matty Parker...
For me, I think Alex Laird has hit the nail on the head. This is a Gibbons-type player. Yeah. This is a guy that's a midfielder that happens to rest in the small forward line. And I agree here with Musaka as well. Why are we getting project small forwards? For me, we've just seen Higgins this morning announced to go to St Kilda. They were talking on the radio today. It'll be a late second rounder. We have a late second rounder, pick 30 at the moment. Does beg a belief a little bit. But as always, we are at the mercy of the club. It doesn't matter what your Uncle Pom says. We might get him, but I mean, all I can do is prepare you. There is something there, and it looks like we're going to have to rely on Uncle Eddie to fix it.
I guess so.
That's my new get-out clause, Uncle Eddie, my new one.
Uncle Eddie. I just get Darcy Lang vibes from him, that's all. And if there's one thing Geelong's been able to do to Carlton over the last decade, it's sell us on a player that they really highly rate. They're really sad to lose. And it just
Billy Smets.
Yeah, Billy Smets. Darcy Lang. I don't know what. I don't understand what the big fanfare is about Fogarty. Is it because he looks like a nice, good young boy that you want to bring home to meet, meet the parents? Is that what it is?
For me, we've got a lot of people saying Jaden Stevenson. For me, if you look at the way Carlton recruit players, we recruit players based on, I think, a good 40% their off-field activities. As soon as Jaden Stevenson was on the market, I was like, you've got more chance of trading in Taylor Swift to the AFLW team of that guy playing for us. And it does seem that case. He is a good boy. So by no way am I saying he's a superstar. Does he make our worst 30 better? Maybe. Potentially he will. Is he a small forward? No. He's only rest there. But he could be. He has got the skills. He's very good below his legs. So wait and see for me. It's not something, though, that I would be doing to hold up the Saad trade, let's be honest. That would not be the stickler for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. You guys at home, Lockie Fogarty, yes or no? I'm going to put in my vote for no, Pom. What about you?
I couldn't care less. I'd say no is my initial feeling, if I'm honest with you.
Yep. Fair enough. Justin Bell wants to know, why is Charlie Constable still available? Average 20 possessions, a big inside midfielder. As the nose, absolutely steaming through here. Okay, I thought, I got the vibe everyone was keen on Fogarty. I just couldn't get it. Okay.
It's not often I write a list of potential players who are on the outer, and I get one wrong. I never often do with a player we're linked with. He wasn't even on my potential. So this is left field. So maybe Austin's seen something that everyone's missed. But yeah, I don't quite get it for me.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, Pom, we've fucked around a little bit too long. Everyone's kind of just waited for this. This is now the feature of the Blue Abroad show during the trade period. It's the Daily Dodoro roast. We'll label it the Daily Dodoro roast, but what we're going to do is give a bit of an update on the Adam Saad situation, which really there's now a new mechanism in place. So for those of you who were with us on Friday we offered pick 8 to Essendon for Adam Saad and pick 48 in return. That was knocked on its head. Joe had a passionate plea to Dodoro to basically say, listen, we've put 8 on the table. We've dealt with you in good faith. And unfortunately, it hasn't been reciprocated. So now we've had conversations about, now they want a future first and we want them to send back a future third. And should we get worried about this, Pom? Are we getting played like we did last year? Is this what's happening?
I always think it's a risk, and this is why I quickly changed my tune from PSD to just get the deal done. Because as anyone knows who works in business, your first offer is always increased. If I'm going to buy a car and you want 10 grand and I offer you 8, we know that 8 is going to be either the lowest I go or I'm going to have to raise and meet in the middle. Very rarely, if I'm buying a car and say 8 grand, would you say 7 deal? So I always thought we were going to have an issue if that wasn't the agreement. For me, Dodoro is taking the total piss now. The total piss. But I will say this, potentially this could work in our favour. I currently would imagine that Essendon are bottom 5. So if we can somehow work in a future third, you actually see with the picks based on we finish in the 8, so say we get pick 10, this pick works better. Now, I've looked very early to call, but if we just go to Pom's sheet for next year, around them picks of players we'd miss out on would be Blake Howells, Cooper Murley, Matty Johnson and Lewis Rayson. Now, they're all very similar players to what we've got. 3 of them are midfielders. We've got them midfielders. I can't see us drafting a midfielder. And the other one's a key forward. So if Carlton look at a future first as a commodity for us, there's nothing there. There is this rumour of a pick swap with Brisbane, 8 for 18 and 19. So Carlton could look at doing something like that this year. They could be going, right, future first, offset it into 2 first-rounders. Whoever is around, though, at 18 and 19, I don't see it myself. For me, this is where we are now in a situation. We're guessing on what's happening next year. Dodoro's having a fucking laugh. And I'm going to guarantee you this. What Dodoro's telling me is he's already resigned himself to losing Saad for a free. And I think what's happened is we're having a Gold Coast situation like last year. They got that compo pick. They got that concessionary pick early. And it's now a free hit because 7 was too much for Danaher. And they're looking at it as 7 is our compo value for Saad. So anything above it is a win. So they want 8. We've kind of made a rod for our own back in a way, in my opinion. We can't really go down on that. Once you've gone that high, we'll look unreasonable. But for me, now it's coming to the situation where Nick Austin has to draw the line and say it's PSD or this. For me, I am at the situation now where I want this deal done and it needs to be done. But he has to be behind closed doors saying, mate, evidently this morning it was 8.68 was the counter offer from 8.49 back, which what Carlton was wanted. We have to put that line down and say, look, if we're giving pick 8, has to be done by midday today or it's PSD. For me, that is where we are at this situation because the guy's a fucking giraffe, man.
Well, what I saw today was Sammy Edmund, and for the first time since the trade period started, it was something on mainstream media that was like remotely anti-Essendon or remotely pro-Carlton, because it's kind of just been the Essendon, SEN's been the Essendon. SEN is basically Essendon abroad, let's be honest.
Well, that's what the E stands for in SEN, Essendon, evidently. I mean, it's a complete shit show. It's just an Essendon willy waving show. I can't listen to it. Fair play to anyone who listens to that drivel.
You're just a shit blew abroad. Just a shit blew
abroad.
So, but what I saw today was from Sammy Edmund. He said about Saad, he's got strong reasons for wanting to leave Essendon. And Carlton's nuclear option is maybe Saad makes it public why he wants to leave. I'm told it's a break glass in case of emergency option. So that tells me that there's some sort of secret that's going to come out. Who knows? There could be a little bit in that, and that could be the next leverage point for us, because Nick Austin has played this very low key. He's been very low key, and he's let Dodoro do all the talking. He's let the mainstream media do all the talking. I just hope it pays off.
Well, I mean, at this moment, for me, I understand the priority of getting him, and I understand where Nick Austin's going. He's obviously a very important player, but there comes a point where I thought pick 8 was good. I want to know what this break glass is an emergency, because De Stoop said, didn't he, that it's become toxic. The relationship between the parties of Essendon and Saad is toxic. The relationship's become toxic. So that says to me that it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They can't redraft him. We know that the AFL put a quiet word into Gold Coast last year. Should they enter PSD, it'll happen again. It'll happen again. So there's no way that happens. No way Hawthorn do. By the looks of things, where Hawthorn are going, they won't even have a PSD pick, and neither will North Melbourne. It's very rare in the AFL that more than 4 teams enter PSD. It's kind of a glorified free agency. So I think he's resigned to the fact that we are losing at PSD, and Dodoro seeing this as a free hit like Gold Coast did. And unfortunately, the only way we can stop that is Nick Austin either breaking the glass and getting this out. And because now the media are in a wonderful position. If we suddenly pull out of this deal, Dodoro can sell this as where we've been unreasonable. Because the minute we offered pick 8 was the minute we said he's worth pick 8. So regardless of what we think, it's now inconsequential. Pick 8 is his worth. So that is where we've got a problem. They can twist this, and Dodoro will love it. Will love to say, Carlton were unreasonable. We've lost a player through PSD. Carlton have got someone who was worth pick 8 for free because they wanted 48. So it's a messy situation to be in, but it's going to be a credit to Nick Austin here. I'm backing him in because this is the time. This is the time to show us what you're fucking made of, mate.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to take pick 8. We're going to take Saad for free, and we're going to take the fucking lot, mate. This is how it goes, because we are Carlton and we're back, mate. Enough of this fucking posturing. It's just Essendon are a basket case. They sold Adam Saad. This is the way I see it. They sold Adam Saad a dream when they recruited him. They sold Dylan Shield a dream when they recruited him. Both of them have bought into the dream. Devon Smith Joe Danaher and the like. It's all falling apart. Joe Danaher's out. I feel like there's going to be a GWS effect here, bit of a domino effect. I think now that Joe's gone, Joe's the fabric of the football club, the Danaher name, all of that. I can just see this being a follow-on effect next year, and that's why they're going after Caldwell. That's why they're going after for Dunkley, because they have to do something ASAP, because the players that they previously recruited are all of a sudden saying, hang on a minute, this is nothing like what you told me it was going to be. So that's
the thing is, Essendon have got the picks to get Dunkley. They have a future first, which is what the doggies want. They have that. They have that in abundance. So for me, pick 8, that's what they wanted. Maybe Dodoro's just worked that out and he thought he was going to on-trade pick 8. But to me, we have to stay firm now on that pick 8. And if we don't get pick 8 and 46, and that's what we've offered, we're fair. We offer that. We tell them to get fucked. And, set a benchmark now from Nick Austin. We're not messed around. And this is a great baptism of fire from Nick Austin, because he's dealing with the single biggest arsehole in the AFL in his first ever trade. So round 1, we can sing this to the Essendon fans. Sad for nothing. Sad for nothing, Anne Williams for free.
Love it, mate. That's perfect. Guys, it's been half an hour. There's your daily recap. Good chat tonight. Very much looking forward to the rest of the week. We will be here at 7 p.m. every night. And then on Thursday, we've got the mega stream. It'll go for 3, maybe 3.5 hours. We'll be back in the studio with Shad Daddy. Looking forward to having you guys join in. We'll have some prizes for you to win as well. I've been Terry. That's been Pom. We've been Blue Abroad. Peace out.